All right, here we go. March 27th here. Welcome to back to the call, everybody. I got a few things I want to kind of go over today. A couple of questions have come in over the week. A really good question. I had a conversation with one of our users and resellers, and actually a couple of resellers this has come up with this week. So I wanted to cover it, and it's in regards to SEO and outbound linking to authority sites. Now, those of you that have been through the SEO Dominator program over the years know that that was like one of my big tricks, and it still works today. So, and the whole premise behind it is when you're an SEO guy, Google knows exactly what SEO guys look like and what they do and their behaviors and such. And what they kind of look at is the site really an authoritative site? And if the site is an authoritative site, it's got a characteristic about it that it does a lot of linking out to other authority sites. It shares information back and forth. So if you have a site and you don't have any outbound links, all the links are coming in and you're hoarding all your links and you're not sharing any information out to the outside world, to them that looks a little fishy, because if you truly are an authority on something, then what you'll do is you'll link out to other people as reference and also to help them find whatever they need, because nobody has everything. So it's very common and very natural for you to link out to give people more information that didn't necessarily come from you. There's a lot of good information out in the world. So this, going way back, probably 20 years ago, when I was doing a lot of on-page work, a lot of on-page optimization, because that was all there was back then. That was one of the key components that we got an edge over everyone else, and I still see that today with on-page optimization, is the fact that you link out to authority sites to give more information on a particular topic. So a good way to do this, and this is one of the ones I've always done, is I actually link back to Google. And here's kind of the trick to it today because of the whole user experience. If you link back to Google saying, hey, there's more information on this topic, if you click this link and you'll find information in Google, put a link to a Google search page that you're at the top of. That way, when people click through the link, they'll go and they'll find more information about you and they'll click back to you. So what that creates is that creates a link from your site to Google, pass through of a user to Google, and then Google passes them back. And traditionally you didn't want to typically do that because it was like a link farm. But when Google is the backbone of it, they don't really care. So that you can also do it with any other authority site. You can do it with, like, if you have a Wikipedia page, link out to your Wikipedia page because it's going to link back to you. So same thing with social media accounts. This is where it makes sense to actually send outbound links. If you look at guys that are just setting up like quick bait and switch sites, they don't do that. And Google knows this. So like on almost any authority site, they will have all their social media links there. They link out to their social media links, their social media accounts rather, and that gives them that outbound linking to an authority site. And again, it all typically comes back to them. But one of the really powerful ones is every page on your site you can do this with. Any page on your site, whatever that page is about, you can put a link out to Google, Bing, Yahoo, right to a search results page that's specifically about what you're talking about. What that does, that will create that authority bounce back to you. So it's a really good thing. It's a really cool strategy. Like I said, I've been doing it for probably over 20 years. It still works today. It's one of those lifelong things that most people don't do, and it will help you. It'll help you not today, not tomorrow, but it'll help you the long term. So there are not too many SEO strategies that you will see that work for 20 years, but that's one of them, because it's not necessarily SEO trickery. What it is, it's common sense. It makes sense to a business owner to take somebody of value and give them more information. So that's the whole premise and strategy behind it. And authoritative sites do just that. They link out so you can get more information on a particular topic, because they get the fact that, you know, they don't have everything. You're going to want more. And if they're the one that provide it to you, you're probably going to come back to them next time you want some information. So again, it's a strategy that makes sense. You know, it's a helpful strategy. So anyway, that was one that I wanted to cover. The other Chris, we have one Chris on here. The other Chris, that was something he was interested in, so I wanted to make sure I get that on the call so he can watch it on the replay. Another thing I want to share with you guys is I have started to actually do SitePop webinars with authorities, and this is something I know a lot of you are in the point now where you need traffic. And you know, you've got your campaigns up and you're to that point. And if you're not there yet, it's not a big deal. You will be soon. If you're following the ACT protocol, you know, you're going to be putting a campaign together at some point here in the near future, and you're going to need traffic for it. So I've said all along here, the easiest way to get traffic is just to buy it. But there's a lot of you that are afraid to do that because you don't have the experience and it costs money, and you know, that can be a scary thing, especially if you don't have a lot to play with. You know, if you're just getting started and you're trying to bootstrap and ramp up, it can be a very difficult thing. I mean, I've been in that boat. I've been in that position, and I just want to go back to my roots and share with you guys how I did it, how I got up, because I didn't do that. I didn't go do paid traffic to get here. What I did was I leveraged other authorities in the marketplace. And what I did, I connected with people that had an audience that I could truly help, and I connected with them and offered information out to their audience. I did it through an affiliate offer. So what you do is you go to an influencer. An influencer is somebody that controls a market share of a market you want access to. So it could be like if you're in the sales business and selling sales strategies, marketing products for salespeople, anything like that. I'll just use that as an example. Who you might want to connect with is sales trainers. You might want to find the top sales trainers out there. Those would be an influencer. So that would be somebody that influences salespeople. So if salespeople is that your target market, find the influencer that influences them and cut a deal with them. Say, you know, have a conversation. Say, you know, I've got a really cool product that I think could really help your users, and you're going to be positioned as a hero by bringing it to them. And in the process, you're going to make a few bucks. So it's really a win-win all across the board. And I've done this a multitude of times throughout my career. In fact, it's how this particular call got started. You know, I was with an influencer group, and it was in Orange County where I live here. I didn't actually go to them. They actually came to me. It was kind of interesting the way this got started. But they came to me, and they wanted me to come speak to their group of business owners. It happened to all be women. It was a women's business association for commercial photographers. And they wanted to know some information about SEO. That was something they were all interested in collectively. The whole group, all of their users were interested in it. So instead of me going out and hunting out that opportunity, it actually just fell in my lap. But you can go and you can hunt those opportunities out. You can find groups of people that are needing information or starving for a product or a service. And you can do the exact same thing, just in the reverse order. With this particular one I'm talking about, they came to me, but I could have just as easily gone to them and said, hey, you have a group of businesswomen here that none of them are SEO'd. They all need this. And I have some really cool information I'd like to share with them. And that's the way it works. So you find an influencer that you can provide huge value to their group, and you cut a deal. Whether it be a webinar or an ad, an email push, they might have a newsletter where they can promote you in the newsletter, whatever it might be, and you can set up an affiliate relationship and say, you know, anybody that purchases through this relationship, you'll get a commission on. So again, it's a win-win. The person that's the authority, the influencer, they win in multiple ways. They win because they are getting free content that their users really want that provides value to them. They become more valuable to their users because they're the one that set this up. You know, it's like when I come across something really cool and I bring it to you guys, it's like it's positioning me as the hero because I'm finding something really cool that you guys might really need. And I'm doing the research, I'm doing the testing, I'm making sure it's good, and then I bring it to you. So it saves you time, it saves you money, it saves you frustration. I mean, how many times have you guys seen a product come down the line and you're not sure whether you should buy it? You know, it makes it really good when I go buy it and I try it and it works for me, and then I bring it to you and I say, hey, of all the 50 things I've tried this month, this is the one that actually worked. So, you know, again, that's really what you're doing. You're creating those relationships where you're putting the influencer in a really good spot. You're giving them free content, positioning them as a hero, and you're putting a few bucks in their pocket. And what it does for you, I haven't even talked about what this does for you. It puts the Oprah factor on you. Like, how many people have gone on Oprah's stage and the day before they went, they were a virtual unknown, but the day after, they're a superstar. And it's the Oprah factor. It's like guilt by association. When you're on the Oprah stage, you must be important. Just by that connection, it's that guilt by association. Just because you were there, you must be guilty of success. So everyone wants to connect with you because you're successful. You know, it's like that whole fake it till you make it thing. And that's the whole thing behind getting with celebrities, like celebrity status, creating that authority and that celebrity brand just by associating with them. That's the whole key behind it. You know, it's like if you go to an event, and Gregory, he's a master at this. He's on the call right now. He will get his picture with every celebrity out there. And then when other people see that, they're like, wow, that Gregory guy, he is all over the place. He must be just a rock star because he's with all these people. He must be important. So it's, you know, and again, if you're just starting out, that's a way to do that. You know, go to the places where they are, get your photos with them, publish those photos on social media so people start seeing them. And then what'll happen is they'll start associating you with that person or those people. And they'll say, wow, that's a guy I want to work with because I want to be just like him. I want to hang out with those people. So again, it's a really simple concept of guilt by association. And I know it doesn't sound good being guilty, but if what you're being accused of is being successful, I'll take guilty all day long. So, you know, it's a really simple strategy, and it can catapult you as far as popularity, social proof. You know, that's something that we all strive for in our sales letters, is how do we prove socially that this thing's good? and it's by other people using it. It's that guilt by association. If 50 people say it's great, then by association, the guilty part is being great. So it must be great. So same thing with you. If you're hanging out with successful people and you're getting those photos and you're publishing that information, same thing's going to happen. It's the Oprah factor is going to rain down on you. And it's a great thing. It can cause a lot of momentum in your business. But when you get the momentum, you want to make sure that you keep pushing it. Because, you'll do something and all of a sudden you'll get your pipeline will be full. And then you stop doing the thing that made the pipeline full, and then the pipeline goes down, and then all of a sudden it's empty. And now you're going, oh, now what do I do? So momentum is a very, very powerful thing. And if you guys want a perfect graphic example of that, put your car out in the street, put it in neutral from a standing stop, and go ahead and try and push it and get it rolling. Once it's rolling, it's easy to keep it rolling. But if it stops, now you're going to have to put the blood, sweat, and tears into getting it rolling again. So, a lot of times you'll get 3 people to get started pushing it. But then once it's going, the other 2 can go away and you can push it with 1 finger. It is easy. That's momentum. And you can do that with your business. Make sure that when you line the first thing up, you use the momentum to catapult you to the next thing. And a perfect way to do that, we're talking about using influencers to grow your business instead of paying for traffic. Once you use the first influencer, you make sure the next one knows, hey, I just did this with so-and-so. We had a great result. His people loved him for bringing me on. He made X amount of dollars. His earnings per click were this much. What do you think that momentum is going to do to the next influencer? He's going to want to jump on the bandwagon. So you can spool this up very, very quickly if you get that momentum going. And so that's what you want to strive for. Find out who those influencers are and start making friends. Connect with them. And all it takes is 1. It just takes 1 to get momentum. Even if the first one's not that successful, it's the fact that you did it, and it will open the door to the next one. The next one and the next one and the next one. So one of the big ones, like, the first time I actually heard that Oprah Factor was with Perry Belcher. And I was doing some consulting for him and Ryan Dice. This was back in like 2010, and I already had this program going because I originally created it for that women's group. And I was telling Perry about it, and I wound up doing some consulting with them. They flew me back to Austin, and I went in, looked at what they were doing as far as SEO, and basically set them back on the right track. They had gotten way off track. They didn't think it worked anymore, and I was able to fix it for them. And because of that, they wanted to give back to me. And that was when I heard this Oprah Factor. Perry said, hey, he goes, let us do the Oprah Factor for you. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And he told me just exactly what I just told you guys. It's that whole guilt by association thing. They said, we're going to promote you. We're going to put your name out and attach it to ours, and you won't believe what's going to happen. And they did that in 2010. And I have to tell you, every time I go out in public, people recognize and come up and talk to me and want to talk to me that I've never met before. But it was because of that guilt by association that they know about me. It's not because of my own effort. It's because of the momentum off of what Perry and Ryan did for me. And those are huge influencers. Those guys are, probably the biggest influencers in the IM space that I know about. So to have them put the Oprah Factor on me, it did a lot for my career in the internet marketing space. Now, in the space where I actually literally came from, it doesn't do anything for me, because in commercial SEO, when I'm working with commercial businesses, they're not in the internet marketing space. So they don't know who Perry and Ryan is. For me to use that with them, it wouldn't have any effect whatsoever. So you do it with the marketplace that you're trying to work with. So if you've got a product and, like I said, in sales, find the sales trainers, find the influencers that influence the group that you're looking for. So like I said, with the internet marketing space, Perry and Ryan, what they did for me was absolutely priceless. There was some people that said, oh, they didn't pay you enough, they ripped you off. Well, I don't feel that way at all. They could have paid me nothing. And just the fact that they did what they did for me, I've made so much over the years because of that, because of all the people I've been able to serve and help. And, that I was very, very grateful for. So anyway, let's open it up. Anybody got questions or stuck anywhere? Those were the couple things. And also, I want to let you guys know I have been doing the new webinars for the SitePop program. So if anybody wants to be an affiliate of that, I'm putting all the marketing pieces together. I've already done several webinars that have been successful. If you do a webinar with someone, like let's say you get an influencer, they agree to do a webinar, make sure you push the replay. Most of your sales will come off the replay because most people don't show up on a live webinar, believe it or not. You'll get a bunch of people that will sign up for it, but they won't show up for it. But because they signed up, they're on the list. It doesn't mean they didn't want to see it. As you guys know, anything at all can come up in the middle of signing up and showing up to prevent you from showing up. But it didn't mean they didn't want to see it. So as long as you've got them on the list, make sure that the promoter or the influencer, whoever you're working with, make sure they send out the replay. Make sure you record everything. Every webinar you do, you should record. And make sure they push that replay out at least 2 or 3 times. Because as people start consuming the replay, they will order from the replay. Almost every webinar I've done in the last 10 years, we've made more sales off the replay than we did off the live event. And I've done some live events where we did some pretty good sales, but it's still the replay trumps it. So if you don't have them send the replays, you're really missing out on a big piece of the pie. So anyway, that's I'm sure there's a ton more tricks I'm not thinking of off the top of my head, but that's some of the big ones. That's some of the big stuff. It's the fastest way, I guarantee you, it's the fastest, cheapest way to build your own list is by leveraging the list of others. So just make sure whatever you've got, your product has enough value and you're bringing it to the right people, and you'll be amazed at the doors that will open if you just ask. So cool stuff. And with that, I want you guys all to know if you have access to audiences that SitePop or the ACT program would be appropriate for, you can do an affiliate. We've got the affiliate deal up and running, ready to go, and you can make money from that. If you've got even friends or relatives, if you've got friends or relatives that are trying to start their own business, the ACT program, I guarantee you, they're not going to find a better program to give them a solid foundation. If they go out and they start going to seminars and start buying stuff and buying all the shiny objects, as well as I do, they're going to start paying thousands and thousands of dollars, and they're not going to get anywhere. You have to have that solid business foundation in place. Some people call it a dirty word that nobody likes. They call it a business plan. As soon as you tell an entrepreneur, hey, you got to have a business plan for that, they shut down. They literally shut the doors, because it's something about that. It's almost like if you try and tell your wife, we need to go on a budget. Oh, good luck with that. You know, it's the same thing. It's for some reason, something that's so good for you, we just shut it off. I don't know what the mechanism is that causes that, but it is what it is. So you can't go in and say, hey, you need a business plan. But I guarantee you, you do need a solid foundation. You need to understand the market. You need to understand the needs of the market. You need to do all that research and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, you've come up with a business plan. And it wasn't, it was like a bait and switch. We got them to do what they absolutely need to do without calling it what it is. So it's kind of a way to get people the help they need without having them shut down. So, because if you look at any ad agency, the ACT program was based off of the ad agency model. They'll operate off a business plan. Nobody goes in or nobody comes out of an ad agency without a solid business plan. No investor will touch you unless you have a solid business plan. You have to show them the market. You have to show them the market exists. You have to show them that what you have to serve the market is actually going to sell, that it's wanted, and you know how to sell it to them. If you've got those things in place, you will get funded. If you don't have those things in place, good luck trying to get an investor to invest in your business. It's like they don't gamble. Investors are not gamblers. They go for sure things. And if you don't have a solid plan, you are a gamble. And you're not a very good one either. It's pretty high risk. It's like, everybody's got ideas, but most of those ideas don't go anywhere. And investors know that. They don't invest in ideas. They invest in systems and processes and sure ways to bring their money back. And you should be no different. When you are investing in your business, whether it be time or money, and do you really want to invest in something that doesn't have a chance? And that's that foundation. That's what ACT is. So any of you, back to my main point, if you know anyone that's either getting in business, trying to get in business, or struggling in business, it's probably because they don't have that foundation. And that's what they need. So you can make money, you can be a hero by bringing them what they need and make money in the process. So anyways, so all of you should have something. If you don't have anything, now you've got something. All right, so let's go ahead and open up here. Anybody got questions? Or I know I apologize for changing the day here on the call. I've got that all of our neighbors here, they're getting into their 90s. I can't believe how many neighbors I have in their 90s, and unfortunately they don't last too much past that. So I've been going to a lot of funerals lately. Not all that fun, but I guess if they get into their 90s, you can say they didn't get cheated out of any part of life. That's for sure. So look at it on the bright side. All right, guys, let's, if you guys don't have any questions, that's about all I've got for you for as far as content for the call.
Well, I have a jump off point of what you just stated.
Okay, go ahead, Gregory.
I'm working on a film project right now, and we're in the section called the ROI. I'm in charge of the numbers. The other guy's in charge of the artistics and talents and that stuff. That's his department. So I was struggling the last couple of weeks on how to initiate the article, and something you said last week about claim proof and benefits. Well, here was what was cool was the claim. Most pictures don't make money.
Mm-hmm.
The proof is that you can go to a lot of websites and show X number of dollars was put in, number of dollars lost. Yep. Then the benefit is that our project is that we're addressing that gorilla in the room by putting it straight out saying, hey, we know this problem, and here's what we found in our research, and that is if you keep it under budget, keep it on time, and find your right marketplace, which is what you just stated earlier. Oh my goodness, I just lost the train of thought, but you just stated something that was really very cool about that. And I was like, okay, where do I go from here? And then something you just triggered in my mind a couple of minutes ago answered that. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, when you have the claim proof benefit statement, what that does is it's made to eliminate objections. So if you've got anything where you're getting ready to make an offer of anything you've got, you want to make sure, yeah, you want to make sure all the objections are eliminated.
Well, the investor thing, yeah. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry to jump in. I got excited about this because see, one of my mottos that I came from Kevin O'Leary, from meeting up with him at years ago and listening to his videos henceforth. He has two great statements. One, tell me your business in 90 seconds or less. What's your business? How you make your money? Number two, the other thing is how much in, how much out, and when. Know your investor of their timeline. Like Kevin, if you go to Kevin Leary with a project, he wants his money back in 12 months or less.
Yeah.
If he cannot show you can get 12 months or less, he will not be interested in your project.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm coming from. And when you said the word investor, then that was the lynch key that I was trying to get to the end. And now you helped me nail it. Now I can move forward and get that article out, because tonight I got to go to a mixer and do a network presentation. So
yeah.
It's a Hollywood happy hour city club, and I got the Spanish office to come out. Anybody wants to shoot in Spain, they got tremendous tax breaks.
Cool. But yeah, that's a great point, is look at your business the way Kevin O'Leary would look at it. And if he's not going to put his money in, you probably shouldn't put yours in either. Because that's what they're looking at. They're looking at money in, money out, and when. How long is it going to take to get my money back? And so look at it as that's where I go to segmentation and profitability first. That's the very first cornerstone piece of any business. Is there profit? Can we get to the gold? Is there any gold there? Because so many people will get an idea and there's no market. The market doesn't exist. It might be a great idea, but unless there's a market that will consume it, it's just that. It's just a great idea. It's not a business. So, and again, so let's say you took that great idea to Kevin O'Leary. He's going to look at it. He's going to ask a couple questions. He goes, how big's the market? How bad does the market want it? And when you say, well, I don't think there is a market really, how long do you think he's going to stay interested? Not very. And you should be the same way, because literally a business is just that. If you have a business or you're thinking about doing a business, you should be asking those same questions. You should be asking, how big's the market? Is this a profitable market? And in the training, I break that down and I tell you exactly how to verify if the market is profitable. First of all, it's got to be big enough to support your sales goals. There's got to be enough people in there that need what you've got to satisfy that. It's not just about, is there enough people? It's also, the second question is, of those people, are they willing? Is the problem big enough? Are they willing to spend the money that you're asking for to solve the problem? So is it a big enough group? Are they willing to spend the money? And the last one is, are they able to spend the money? Like if we were selling lobster on Skid Row, it's a big enough market, right? They want the product, but they're missing the third piece. They can't afford to pay for it. So you've got to have all three. You have to have the size of the market, the willingness to pay, and the ability to pay. And when you've got all three of those, now the stars are starting to align. You've got a profitable market segment. So that's the very first step. If you don't have that, you shouldn't take the second step. So that's it. I mean, Every business that is successful is founded on a profitable segment of a market. I can guarantee it. It's like math. 1 + 1 is 2 today, tomorrow, and the next day. It's not going to change, and neither is that concept. So if thinking that 1 + 1 is going to add up to 5 sometime in the future is insanity. And so is the thought of, if I go after a market that doesn't exist, it will magically appear. That's insanity. It's happened only a few times in history when people predict what's coming, but that's not replicatable typically. So I wouldn't put my bank account up against that. All right, guys. So what else we got? Oh, another thing too, to what Gregory had said there, when you do the claim proof benefit, when you get into the benefits, you have to make sure that you're actually pressing on a benefit and not a feature. The difference between features and benefits is a feature is what it is. A benefit is what it does. And another key point to the training is coming up with a unique mechanism. Whatever it is that you're offering, there should be a unique mechanism to that. Some people call that a USP, a unique selling proposition. But what's more important is that it's not just a proposition, it's a delivery mechanism of their desired outcome. It's how is this thing that you have going to deliver what I really want? Like the diet pill. How is this diet pill going to be different than the other 50 I've tried that didn't work? What's special about it? What's the delivery mechanism? That's where they came up with Garcinia cambogia. When they came up with Garcinia cambogia, there was another huge flood of diet pill sales. The diet pill had gone flat. Everybody tried it. Everybody knew it didn't work. So the sales, that whole market, the whole industry just went flat. And then they came up, somebody was brilliant. They came up with a unique mechanism that our diet pill has Garcinia cambogia. So when you can figure out what your Garcinia cambogia is, what's the thing that delivers the outcome for you, that's when you'll make sales like crazy. That's when people will flood. It'll create a huge demand and desire for what you're offering when you figure out what's your Garcinia cambogia. And don't think that you're going to keep a secret for very long. Because what happened with the diet pill industry, first company said it, they exploded in sales, and then within a few weeks, everyone on the market now had Garcinia cambogia. And the reality behind that, they all had it to begin with. It was just the first person that said it. They're the ones that cashed in on it. So it's kind of interesting the way that works. And then everyone else is saying it. So now you have to take it to the next step. What's the next evolution of your unique mechanism? So when Garcinia cambogia ran its course, the next thing was our Garcinia cambogia is cold pressed, so the active ingredient is still alive. Again, it's expanding upon the unique mechanism so you can stay out in front. So don't go all the way to the wall with your unique mechanism. Just go a step ahead so you have more steps to go so you can keep out in front of the competitors. So, Mary Sue, it looks like you're unmuted there.
Hey, John. Yeah, I got a question. I'd like to go back to authority sites, if you will.
Okay.
So I just happened to be reading somebody's information, whether it was, I don't remember, a program or a book or something, this past week on how to become an authority site.
Okay.
And I was just wondering, how do you start taking steps to go down that road? Are we talking about a blog? Are we talking about articles on your website? How do you address just to lay out the plan to
Okay.
endorsing?
Well, what an authority site is an authority site is a collection of credible information, stuff that is trustworthy, and a lot of it. So typically an authority site would be something that somebody could go to for a research project and find out information that was valid and accurate. Now, there's other facets to that. It's not just that, because as you know, if we build it, doesn't necessarily mean anyone's going to come. So the other thing is an authority site is getting other people to endorse it. So you'll notice with most authority sites, there's hundreds of thousands of people that link to them because they have the best information. Like for a little guy, if you created an authority site inside your niche, other people that are in the same niche, they don't have that much content. So it's likely that they will help their users out by linking over to give them content from your site. That is really where an authority site comes into play, and it actually becomes a real authority. The other thing is volume of traffic. When you have a volume of traffic, another thing about an authority site, typically it will have advertisers because it's so authoritative, it controls a market. It has a lot of followers. It's just like an influencer. A site that has a lot of followers is just like that. It's an influencer. That's why they call it an authority site. So whenever you have an authority anything, other people want to cash in on it. So it gives you the opportunity to sell ad space. You could sell banner ads, you can sell mail drops, you can sell, spots in your newsletter. Gives you a lot of opportunities to make money alongside of whatever you're doing. There's some people that have authority sites that make a lot of money and they don't even sell a product. They're just the collectors of information. They're basically publishers. They're publishing high quality content, and a lot of it and very credible. So like Forbes Online, Huffington Post, those are authority sites because what they've done is they've collected a bunch of authors. They have collected a bunch of authoritative authors to create an authority site out of that. So
if you wrote if in an article or all of your articles, what you did was create a link to credible information someplace, like research information. Okay, so somebody can go and read the valid information, not necessarily somebody else's website that claims to be an influencer, but you're going back to the original information. Is that and they clearly have valid credentials.
Yeah, you could collect other people's information to house it on your site and create that authority site that way.
So if you're curating information just simply by including the links in your articles, then does that count?
It can, but for a true authority site, it actually houses the content. There's some, like look at Wikipedia, for instance. It's a huge resource of content about just about everything you can imagine. So in your case, if you got a collection of doctors to publish their findings onto your site, then you would be collecting valuable information, and it's not just marketing material. Like you could have your marketing pages and then they could link to the doctor's article that backs up the claims that you're making. And you could house all of that on your own site. And then in that case, it would become an authority site. That makes sense?
You want to link to their articles?
On your site, though.
Encourage people to publish their articles on your site.
Yes, yeah. So a lot of authority sites were created in the whole Web 2.0 era. And what Web 2.0 really was Web 2.0 was a user-generated website. Like you put up a forum, and really you're just supplying the house. You're just supplying the walls that the visitors are going to come in and they're going to hang out. And they're going to create content for you. Every time they post in the forum, that's new content on your, in your house. And at some point, when enough people post enough good content, other people will come there for that. That's an authority site. So whether you create the content yourself or whether you create an environment for other people to contribute, like that's what Huffington Post is. They've created a house for high authority authors to contribute. And now people know that. They know, hey, that's an authority place. I'm going to go over there for my information.
So in a case like that, you wouldn't, I can see somebody like Huffington Post just posting the information, and they don't need to vet whether or not that information is valid. They just let
Correct.
somebody else decide that.
Correct, because they have authors. Like in your case, if you had, let's say you solicited a collection of doctors to post and publish their findings, it'd be the same thing. You wouldn't be responsible for for their content they're posting. They're attaching their name to that. So you're just creating the house for them to build for you. That's what Web 2.0 is. It's you create a house and everyone builds it for you. Like YouTube. All YouTube was originally was a shell. It was a shell of click here to upload your video. Create an account, a user account. That was a pure Web 2.0 framework. And look at it now. That is an authority site because it's got so much content. And it's not necessarily an authority in any one thing. It's an authority in everything. I mean, you could go to YouTube and you can search and you can find a video on how to tie your shoes. I mean, there's everything on there. How to boil water. It's like it's a house that collected everything. And that really is the ultimate authority site. So creating a house that you populate with content that other people will value, that's really what an authority site's all about. And the easiest way to do it is to have people contribute, because think about it. How would you on your own possibly ever even fathom creating a YouTube without the users?
Sure.
Where none of us are going to live that long. There's literally millions and millions of hours of content that people have contributed to that. So,
okay.
And think about that. How valuable is some of that content? There's probably 90% of it is just pure garbage, but it's still an authority site because you can find anything there. So,
okay.
So it's a very loose term, really. I guess what I'm getting to is what an authority site actually is. You could have an authority site with 10 pages. If you had particular content that was very unique about a specific thing that no one else had, then you could be an authority site just from that. People will come there for the value of that content. That makes it an authority site. It's just how big of an authority are you? Are you 10 pages of authority, or are you 50 million Yahoo pages of authority or YouTube pages of authority? And that size actually should and probably will equate to your income as well. So it's back to that whole market. If you were to want to create an authority site, you want to make sure that you're creating it on a profitable segment of the market. As far as you, Mary Sue, you don't have to worry about that because you have that. You truly have a profitable market. You've got a lot of people in there. The problem is big enough. They want to spend the money for it, and most of them have the money to spend. So you've got that cornerstone covered.
So I was just trying to figure out how to, because I know I need to begin to create content. And the question is, what direction do I go?
I would pick one thing, like, again, when I go back to how to create a marketing campaign, you look at the segments that you cover, and I always like to pick the most profitable segment. So if you were picking between thyroid and adrenal, for instance, which one is more profitable? Which one's the bigger market with the bigger problem, with more money and all that?
Right.
And I would start there. I would take the most profitable segment. I would start there, and I would pick a product that I wanted to promote, and I would just go through the whole ACT marketing protocol and create a marketing campaign for that product. That would be the way I'd go about that. And look at the timeline, figure out, somebody that's on this timeline, they're probably confused. If they knew the answer, they'd already have it, right? So they're probably confused about information. So you could offer that as your first step, as your free giveaway. Educate them. Say, there's things most people don't know about this, or here's the 3 things that doctors are not going to tell you about thyroid issues. Not because they just don't want to tell you, maybe because they don't know. They're so focused on what they learned in school, they're not looking outside the box to solve your problem. So that's an intriguing thing. Somebody would go, wow, yeah, I want to know about that. So then you bring them in, you get them to opt in, you get them into your marketing system, and you start educating them. And in the process of educating them, you're doing a couple of things. You're creating demand and desire for the solution, the outcome, and also you're creating buying criteria. You're setting the buying criteria that your product, you're teaching them how to buy your product. And when they go outside and they go and try and shop elsewhere, because you set that buying criteria, nothing else matches. It's like you're the only one that has that unique mechanism that's actually going to deliver the result. In the process there, you want to figure out, okay, what are the potential objections going to be? And you want to eliminate them, and then you want to make your offer. And that should be a very, very successful marketing campaign. And that works for any of you guys. Like Cheryl, that will work for the dating thing too. It's the exact same protocol, whatever you guys are selling. If it's supplements, if it's relationships, if it's hard products, if it's cars, boats, it really doesn't matter. It's the same exact process. You figure out what's the most profitable segment. That's the one I want to start with, and you create the campaign just that way. You look at the timeline of that avatar, figure out what exactly are they feeling, what are they experiencing, what's keeping them up at night, and then you want to bring in, the problem. There's a lot of different ways to build the actual marketing campaign. I really like the one that Frank Kern promoted as the magic model. And kind of the way the sequence goes is he presents what he calls the big ass problem. Here's the big ass problem ahead of you. And then he makes it worse. He twists the knife. He said, and that's not all, you're going to run into this too. And it makes it even worse. And then he gives you hope. He said, but you can overcome it if you just do this. And then he takes you through training, and he shows you exactly how to get over the hurdle, how to get to the top of the hill. And in the process of showing you how to get to the top of the hill, he makes it so painful that you know you want it, but you don't want to do it. And then he offers you the simple solution, the done for you, or hey, I'll do this with you and make it easier. What, you know, however you want to do that. That works really well because you've kind of taken people on a journey. You know, it's like the story. You know, you're creating a story and you're taking them on the hero's journey, and they see themselves as being the hero. You know, they see you and they see the mirror of themselves in you because you've already been over the hill. You know, you are the expert here. You've done it. You've been where they were, and now you're where they want to be, and you can be their guide. So that's the hero's journey. And you can take them through that process and actually just show them the steps. Say, here's what I was up against. Here's how I got over it. You know, and then at the end, the offer might be, would you like me to help you get over it too? Because I've already been there. I've already traveled this road. I know all the the pitfalls and the potholes in the road. So that's pretty much the sequence of that particular type of campaign. There's a lot of different campaigns. I like that one particularly because I've used it multiple times throughout my career, and it's always worked. All right.
Thanks.
Anything else? Anybody else got anything before we tie it up and put a bow on it this week? All right, guys. Well, hey, thank you.
This was good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for being here, and the questions are great. I love the questions when you guys bring the questions on here because you got to make me work. So, all right, guys, have a great week. And next week we'll be back regular time, I believe, and we should be in good shape. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for being here.